Hello, everyone. You're watching the first episode of the Top Rope Maneuver podcast. I'm Easy, and I'm here with my co-host Ebonic Raven. What up, Raven?
What up, y'all? How everyone doing, man? This is the podcast, and we're here live.
That's right. That's right. And you're here to talk about the first segment, which will be WrestleMania Night One and Two. So, Raven, let's get started with what happened with Night One.
Well, the opening bout was LA Knight and Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso versus Division, the team of Logan Paul and Austin Theory against I Show Speed Division. And, of course, LA Knight, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso defeated Division.
Now, what do you think about that matchup?
I mean, the match was kind of a throwaway match in the sense that it was on ESPN's channel, so like it was trying to promote WrestleMania. So I kind of see it as like it wasn't anything consequential, anything substantial, but at the same time, it helped to advance storylines with Division and the tag team division, and of course the Usos and LA Knight. What are your thoughts?
Yes, exactly. I pretty much like the celebrity ISO Speed that got into the ring and really showcased his talents and really trained hard. And actually, I see a future with him and Logan Paul. Logan Paul was the guy that we didn't think was gonna make a big impact into the WWE, and look at him now. He's mixed in and blended with some of the wrestlers very well. And I think that ISO Speed has a future. Now, I wouldn't say much about the other celebrities, but I'm not going to push that any further. I thought the match was very well done. For a quick minute match and to have LA Knight showcase his talent at WrestleMania, judging the fact that he wouldn't even had a match at all. And I found that really, really disgust for the talent that LA Knight has. And I thought that he should be showcased, and which he did. Whether it had been with the Usos, whether it is with any match at all, Andre the Giant Battle Royal, anything. The fact that he was showcased on WrestleMania, I felt that it was well deserved. And maybe for the next WrestleMania, I feel like he needs to be showcased into the main event and finally win a championship.
I agree. That'd be very interesting to see an LA Knight run in WWE. It's long overdue, in my opinion, personally. I mean, with all the years that he's been in the company, he's over. The crowd's still behind him. They love him. I think it's time that WWE pulls the trigger on him. I don't know what's the holdup, but at the same time, I think that this is something that they could make some money with. There's definitely something to be done there.
Now, what do you think that is? Do you think the holdback is really Triple H as the involvement that we know heavily that is with TKO? Or do you just think that no one really sees the future in him, judging for the fact that he is an older gentleman in his age of pro wrestling?
Well, I think it could be a combination of things. Like his age is definitely something that in this day and age, unfortunately, is something that's against him a bit because in this day and age we have a lot of up and coming wrestlers coming up from Javon Evans, some who just joined the main roster, to others like Trick Williams and Obafemi and other younger wrestling talents coming up now. So there's a lot more competition now as well to make it to the main event. But of course, LNN has put in the work. I mean, he's been wrestling since 2003. He's been on the Indies. He's been in TNA. He's been around the world. So, like, I think definitely he has an opportunity to make a difference if given the opportunity.
And I do as well. Well, we can't really put age as really the common denominator of why he hasn't get pushed, because if you look at the likes of Roman Reigns, CM Punk, everyone in the main event scene is over the age of 30. So whether or not I don't believe it's an age. But anyways, moving on with that, what is the second match of the night?
Second match of the night: Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu in a non-sanctioned match.
What was your thoughts on that match before I give my input?
Incredible matchup, very hellacious matchup. They took it to the extreme level with a lot of the to call the movements they did in the match, a lot of like the angles, a lot of the spots. It was very interesting for me, and I'm very glad that Jacob Fatu was the winner of the match. I thought it was the right choice to make, and Jacob Fatu's on the come up, and he's another one that could be a potential main eventer in the future.
Yes, and judging by the outcome, I know he's on his road to facing Roman Reigns, challenging him to Backlash. And so my thoughts about the match. I liked it. My major issues, I felt like it was short. But then again, short and sweet because we've seen these guys feud for the past weeks and they put their body odds on the line. So I kind of see that as fitting into the storyline of why the match was so short, even though it was not really storyline purposes wise. They were trying to fill in the time. And yeah, I felt the match was really good and showcased Jacob's talents and him going towards the main event scene into the future. Now, for Drew McIntyre, I'm not too sure what this means for Drew McIntyre. Here's my thing about Drew McIntyre. I feel
Mhm.
like there's something missing. And I
Uh-oh.
always felt that there's something missing for a very long time. But this is my own opinion. But I feel like even with the Viking Raiders should have been alongside Drew McIntyre by being his lackeys, so to say, and really give him that push to get some help. Because really, Drew was helping himself cheat. Drew was running away. Drew didn't have to play that character of running away if he had backup. So now that would have made his character so much stronger. So the reason why I can see that Drew's not getting so much of a push right now is that I don't think the company really sees what to do with Drew right now, judging for the fact that there's many talents and there's many storylines going around right now that Drew is just left behind saying, okay, what is it for me? Now Drew had his chance, Drew had his opportunity, but unfortunately was his opportunity was shined during the COVID era. What do you think about that?
Well, I definitely agree. Drew's era was during the COVID era, an unfortunate time, but he was the one that led us during the time of uncertainty when a lot of we didn't know what was going to happen. It was a world pandemic, and Drew was there at the front line, still wrestling, still showing up every week on Raw with as WWE champion, and he was holding it down. So I think he should be rewarded for that. But at the same time, I know wrestling isn't something that's rewarded on merit alone. And Drew is a very talented wrestler, and I believe that his time is coming because you know what? I hear rumors that apparently the reason he's not on television right now, not on the product at this moment, is the fact that he's currently off shooting a movie. So if that's the case, then he could be moving on to bigger avenues and becoming a bigger star overall. And who knows what's to say? Who's to say what's going to happen when he does return onto the WWE screen? I'm sure we have not seen the last of Drew McIntyre.
Definitely not. And I feel like if Cody remains champion, his eyes are set back on that WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So moving on, let's talk about match three.
Match 3. Bella Twins versus Charlotte Flair, Bayley, Lila Valkyria, Nia Jackson, Lash Legends in a fatal four for the Women's Tag Team Championships. But however, there's a twist. Nikki Bella was unable to compete due to an ankle injury and was replaced with a returning Paige, who had
Mm.
not been seen in the company for several years. And Brie Bella and Paige defeated Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, Bayley, Lila Valkyria, Lash Legend, and Nia Jax in order to capture the Women's Tag Team Championships.
Oh man, that was a splendid wedge. I have to give my opinion on this match. My unpopular opinion, I feel like this was one of the highest match on the cards in terms of popularity. Um, I'll give this match a solid 4 stars out of 5. Um, reason is because the nostalgic presence of Paige and everyone making her look good. Now, I was to say that watching the match, I was very scared. Like
Oh no.
any bump Paige had, like, I was pretty much just in fear for my life that she would like re aggravate her neck injury. And no, it was everyone protected her. She felt comfortable in the ring, and the fact that they came out with the win just speaks volumes for itself. What do you think about that?
I think it was a nice spot to see and a very beautiful return to see at WrestleMania. A surprise none of us were really expecting, and it was a very interesting match. But I agree with you when you say that I was worried for her neck during the match too because she did take some bumps that looked a little bit gnarly there in some of the spots.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it worked out. They won the titles, and it was a great WrestleMania moment. So I say congratulations to Paige on her WWE return and her first championship win upon returning. So I think it's a good moment for WrestleMania.
Definitely, definitely. Now, moving on. I'm pretty sure this is match four of night one.
Yep. Match 4. AJ Lee, the Intercontinental Champion, defends her title against Becky Lynch, with the result being that Becky Lynch defeats AJ Lee to capture her third Intercontinental Championship.
Now, here's the thing with me with this one. For the fact that this has been what their fourth match since AJ's return, if I'm not mistaken. I seen this as a reoccurring scene. Like I couldn't really get into it for the fact that they fought already many times, and it's kind of like, what are we doing with the Intercontinental Championship? Like this was supposed to be a title to give opportunity to the individuals that never get opportunities on TV because of the woman holding the world heavyweight championship picture. Either way, I loved it. I loved the entrance. I love that the fact that if this is AJ's last, which she kind of almost implied that it was her last, but I feel like she has many matches left in the tank. Like she did amazing for what it's worth. My only issue is that I've seen the match already and it's becoming recurrent. What do you think?
I definitely agree. I mean, we've seen them face each other a couple times now between the entire tag team match involving CM Punk and Seth Rollins as well, if you include that as well. Plus, not to mention the multiple singles matches over the last couple of months. And I think personally, like this WrestleMania match, it was. I mean, in my books, is an unpopular opinion, but it was okay. It wasn't the worst match I've seen, but I did agree that like at some points in the match, I was disappointed in seeing how the turn of events week, especially with Becky Lynch ending up exposing the turnbuckle and hitting AJ Lee with it to win the title and stuff, and the involvement with Jessica Carter referee. It was an interesting matchup, but I'm just wondering where will they go from here? Will we see AJ Lee go for another Intercontinental Championship reign? Will Becky Lynch have a new challenger? But I guess we'll just have to stay tuned and see what happens.
Definitely. Now, I don't think there will be another match between them. Well, fairly not anytime soon, but I am interested to see where Becky takes the Intercontinental Championship next. Now, moving on. Match 5 of night 1 of WrestleMania.
Match 5: Seth Rollins versus Gunther, with the result being Gunther defeats Seth Rollins with the aid of a returning Braun Breaker.
Now, what is your thoughts on this match?
Let's often this match is that this was a clinic. Gunther and Seth really took it to the next level on this match with the chops, the moves they were doing, the brutality. This was a slobber knocker. And then the icing on the cake was just when seeing the return of Braun Breaker out of nowhere when no one expected it. We had heard like rumors that he was just took written off the map for WrestleMania this year. We weren't supposed to see him, but by our surprise, he comes back and he decimated Seth Rollins from out of nowhere, a running spear out of nowhere, and just took him out, giving Gunther the chance to get to lock in the sleeper hold and get the win. Then the second spear off from right on the Titantron, right down to the ramp, all the way to the ring again. It
Ooh.
was brutal.
Oh,
It was brutal.
yes, I totally agree with you there. Now, saying this, I don't have much to say about that match. You said it. You took the words right out of my mouth. My thing is, what do you think? How do you feel about Gunther just being thrown into the match with Seth? Like, what do we capitalize off this storyline, and why did Gunther have to involve himself? Now, knowing that they just needed a match for both wrestlers, but what is it that like why Gunther into the storyline?
Gunther into the storyline. That's a good question. One that I wonder about too. But I mean, I think that things are gonna play out interestingly, especially since now they got him in the story. They got that favor from Paul Heyman that we're still waiting to see what it's going to be, which still
Ooh,
intrigues me. I
Ooh.
wonder what that's gonna be, you know?
Now here's my thing. Um, Brock's retirement. Now we're gonna get into that, but Brock's retirement. Now there's some sources that don't believe that Brock's really retired. And think about it this way. Why would Brock just retire suddenly like that? And I feel like this is such a planned retirement act, uh, orchestrated by Hunter himself, because I feel like the fact that Gunther has something with Paul Heyman, and he feels like Paul Heyman owes him back. Now, what is that debt that Gunther is trying to hold? And I feel that it's Brock Lesnar's last match at SummerSlam. I don't think Brock is done. I think Heyman is going to reach and do everything he can to pull Brock out of retirement to get him to do that one match, one last match in his hometown of Minnesota at SummerSlam this year. What do you think about that?
I agree. That actually makes a lot of sense. Because considering the SummerSlam is in Minnesota this year, I believe that there's a very strong possibility we have not seen the last of Brock Lesnar, and we could see that match with Gunther. I mean, the fans would love it. I mean, us as fans, I'm sure we would all love to see that showdown, that legendary showdown between the next big thing of 20 years ago versus the next big thing of right now in this current era.
Yeah,
Gunther and Lesnar. Imagine the marquee. There's money to be made, so I wonder, will we be spoiled as fans, and will we get to see it? I guess we'll have to stay tuned, and it remains to be seen.
most definitely. Now, moving on. This would be match.
Yes, number 5. Stephanie Vacure defends the women's world title against Liv Morgan. And the result, Liv Morgan defeats Stephanie Vacure to become the new world women's champion.
Now, I heard this match was a very, very quick match. And I feel like it was inevitable. Liv was going to win this match, for the fact of all the promo, everything was built behind Liv Morgan. The machine, the music videos, appearing in Fortnite, everything was building up to showcasing that Liv Morgan was going to win this match. Now, what does this mean for Stephanie Vaquera and Liv Morgan? And not only that, for the rest of the Judgment Day, because Stephanie Vaquer is a single girl going up against three of these females from the Judgment Day. What do you think?
Yeah, she's definitely outnumbered. It's a 3-on-1 matchup right now. So maybe Stephanie Vacure will get some reinforcements in some shape or form. But however, when it comes to the title match and everything, like it was a very good match for what it was. I mean, I enjoyed it. The entrance was very theatrical with Liv Morgan, like you were saying, for a music video. But the fact that the fact that Raquel and Roxanne both Perez both interfered, it was very it was very predictable in the sense that we knew that was going to happen, and it was like the odds were stacked against Stephanie. But I guess that's what we kind of like, the underdog going up against the odds. So basically, I think personally this is going to be a very good feud, and if it continues on, I'm all for it. I'm definitely don't think this should be the last match between the two of them.
Now, here's what I'm gonna bring up. For the fact that Valkyr is not the only one having issues with the Judgment Day. Finn Balor, or so to say, the demon, has a problem with Dominic Mysterio. Now, would you think there will be a team up with the demon Finn Balor and a new demonesque Stephanie Vercure versus Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan down the line? Maybe SummerSlam in Minnesota. What do you think?
That would be very interesting, actually. To see something like that would be like a whole new precedent. To see the two of them together, to see Vecure and the Demon Finn Balor teaming up together against Dominic and Liv. That would be a showcase blockbuster matchup. I would love to see that one. That one could go either way. The storyline possibilities are infinite there. There's so much that can be done there. That's a very great idea.
And moving on to match number 6 of the night.
And this one is our main event of night one. The WWE Undisputed Champion Cody Rhodes defends his title against the Viper Randy Orton. And the result being Cody Rhodes successfully retains the Undisputed title.
Now, what do you think about this matchup before I put my inputs on this?
Now, this matchup, this main event was very it was interesting, but at the same time, it was a little lackluster. I admit it wasn't what it could have been. I think a lot of what was wrong with this was TKO putting their noses into the creative, adding in Pat McAfee instead of letting the match just be what it should have been. 20 years in a match culminating in 20 years of history between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. The story could have written itself, but they added so many outside forces into the match, adding Pat McAfee, adding Jelly Roll, things that we didn't need. And it was a perfectly good storyline, and that kind of made the match suffer. Them adding those elements into the matchup. Like in the end, the match wasn't terrible, but at the same time, it could have been so much better to build up and storyline to it for this year's WrestleMania when it comes to the matchup. That's what I think.
Now, I exactly agree with you. I don't have much to add, but I feel like this move with TKO was to build up the ticket sales, which totally backfired because it's running away the core hardcore fans who's been through their 20 years of seeing Cody and Randy Orton, and to finally see it culminate and to have Pat McAfee out of all people. By the way, Ted DiBiase Jr. was in the crowd of WrestleMania that night to watch the match. Why couldn't they get him involved into the storyline somehow? Now I don't know if there was legal troubles or they didn't want to have anything backfired on them by bringing in Ted DiBiase, but I feel like that caller should have been someone more relevant into the 20-year history of both individuals, which would have made the match so much better, and we will be talking about it to this day in a positive light more than in a negative light. And no hate for Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee is an awesome heel. Like I feel like if this was any other match or any other storyline, that would have been amazing. Because I've watched Pat McAfee's feud with him and Adam Cole and NXT Black and Gold, and that was beautiful. Like I know what Pat McAfee can do, and I know what Pat can bring to the table, but bringing Pat into a storyline that had no involvement with him and Randy and Cody, no history at all, was just brutal. And I feel like it ruined something. Now I feel like Cody or Randy Orton should run it back somehow, but I feel like the damage is done. It will never be as good as being at WrestleMania, the granddaddy of them all, and to have it ruined by TKO, it was just disappointing to me. And I feel like that ruined the main event of night one of WrestleMania.
For sure, I agree 100% on that one. And that's the end of night one of WrestleMania.